My name is Jacque Fresco. I'm an industrial designer and a social engineer. I'm very much interested in society and developing a system that might be sustainable for all people. First of all, the word corruption is a monetary invention. That aberrant behavior that's disruptive to the well-being of people, while you're dealing with human behavior. And human behavior appears to be environmentally determined, meaning if you were raised by the Seminole Indians as a baby, never saw anything else, you'd hold that value system. And this goes for nations, it goes for individuals, for families. They try to indoctrinate their children to their particular faith and their country and make them feel like they're part of that. And they build a society which they call established. They establish a workable point of view and tend to perpetuate that, whereas all societies are really emergent, not established. And so they fight new ideas that would interfere with the establishment. Governments try to perpetuate that which keeps them in power. People are not elected to political office to change things. They're put there to keep things the way they are. So you see, the basis of corruption is in our society. Let me make it clear. All nations, then, are basically corrupt because they tend to uphold existing institutions. I don't mean to uphold or downgrade all nations, but communism, socialism, fascism, the free enterprise system, and all other subcultures are the same. They are all basically corrupt.
Since 1975, Roxanne Meadows has worked with Jacque Fresco to develop and promote the Venus Project.
Ms. Meadows joins us tonight to share their ideas for alternative solutions to the many problems that confront the world today. Welcome, Roxanne.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, last week we played a few clips from Zeitgeist Addendum, and we identified a lot of the problems. And it seems that you at the Venus Project have some solutions. What might they be?
Right. Well, that's the difference between activists and what we're doing. They talk about what the problems are, but they don't pose an alternative direction. And that's what Jacque's been working on for all his life, and I've been working with him for the last 33 years. We have come up with something that we call the Venus Project because we're located in Venus, Florida. But our social system was designed hundreds of years ago, but our technology is racing forward, and our social design has not kept up with our ability to produce abundance all over the globe. And we could do that today. The Venus Project is a sustainable global society that surpasses the need for war, poverty, hunger, and territorial disputes.
Roxanne, is this what Jacque meant last week when we aired the clip about changing to a resource-based society?
Yes, that's what we're advocating. A resource-based economy does not use money, barter, trade, credit, or any servitude of any kind. We don't have enough funds to take care of housing, clothing, medical care, and any of our other problems, but we do have enough resources.
So if you don't have barter, how would people get goods?
We don't need any type of exchange like that. We make goods and services available to everyone.
Got it.
So one of the comments that Jacque also said was he lumps socialism, communism, fascism, and the free market society into the same corrupt system.
Yes.
How does he mean that? What does that mean?
Well, communism, socialism, fascism, they all use money.
Gotcha.
Which means there's elitism, there's favoritism, there's prisons, there's military. And communism and socialism did not have a blueprint as to how to achieve their aspirations. They had wonderful aspirations, and they knew how the system was corrupt, but they didn't have any any way or blueprint of achieving what they wanted to achieve. And they did the same things we did. They copied our same products. They, as I said, they had military. So we're talking about a system that looks at the causes of our problems, which we feel is the monetary system, and surpasses that. If you make goods and services available, you don't have corruption. You don't have the basis of crime when anybody can check out anything they want. It's like the public library. You make things available. You can check out whatever you need.
Right.
You're not penalized if you don't bring them back. You don't need to keep them. You don't need to possess things. That means you need to take care of them. So this way they're kept in the access centers, and they're kept up to date.
Roxanne, you and Jacque have an incredible vision for the future. We went to your website, of course, and our people grabbed a bunch of photographs from your website with the arc or the arch and the some of the futuristic-looking cities. I mean, this really is. I mean, I'm excited. I'd like to live there.
But those cities, are they what or the designs, the physical designs of this technology? Is that how we will be able to share more equitably? Is that what the idea is?
Yes, I call that social architecture. Today, cities are so chaotic, they couldn't be maintained. They're very stressful, they're dirty, they're not organized well, and they're very expensive in terms of resources. So we not only talk about how the future could be, but we show how it could be technically. We back it up with blueprints on transportation and total city systems. These are not city designs to somebody's ego as architecture is today. They're designed to be sustainable, energy efficient. Things are mass-produced, they're plugged in, they can be taken apart, and they can be updated when needed. And houses, I know Jimmy Carter is a very nice guy, but you'll never house people with a hammer and nail as they do today. That's a feel-good organization, but it doesn't take care of the problem of homelessness.
Right.
The houses that we have would be mass-produced and laid like eggs, and they'd be strong, and they'd be efficient and clean. And we have some of those houses on our research center. You can find it on our website.
We have a picture on the screen right now of one of the houses, I guess, on your property. It looks like an egg or a dome-shaped home with a dock there.
They would be very strong too in the event of hurricanes or big storms.
Now, is this particular property actually in existence?
Yes, we have 21 acres with 10 buildings, and we built all the buildings ourselves. I did all the cement work, and Jacque designed everything. And we built those buildings. They're extremely strong. We built them because we're in hurricane country.
Of course.
The environmentalists don't want to cut down the forest, but they live in wooden houses. They don't come up with alternatives. And as long as you sell wood at places like Home Depot, they're going to cut down the forest. So you have to pose alternatives. So these are concrete and steel, and they get stronger with age. You don't have to, there's no wood to rot.
Right.
You don't have to put the bags over them to spray for termites. They're fireproof.
Roxanne, we have a picture on the screen now. It's called the Guest Dome. Does that mean, like, if Kate and I came to visit, we'd stay there?
Yes, you can stay there.
That would be great.
No kidding?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Awesome.
Looks
Now,
like a little hobbit house. I love that.
I want to go to the cities when we come back from our break, but how about energy for these communities? Now, a lot of the problems in the world are about energy. What kind of solutions do you have there?
Well, there's really no scarcity of energy. There's only scarcity of brains in Washington. There's so many possibilities for alternative clean energy. There's wind and solar and tidal differentials and wave, and we could harness the currents in the sea, the Gulf Stream and the Atlantic currents and the Japanese currents, and there's many more. You could use photovoltaics or heat concentrators, geothermal, temperature differentials in the sea, and so many others. But as you know, we were the people in power with the oil companies.
Yeah.
It looks great. Well, any way that Kate and I can help, you just pick up the phone. When we come back, we're going to find out how our education system falls short and what vision we have for the future regarding education. Our guest is Roxanne Meadows from the Venus Project.
I think most of the education that I've seen today is essentially producing a person for a job. It's very specialized. They're not generalists. People don't know a lot about a lot of different subjects. I don't think you could get people to go to war if they knew a lot about a lot of things. I think education is mostly rote, and they're not taught how to solve problems. They're not given the tools emotionally or within their own field of how to do critical thinking. A resource-based economy, the education would be very different.
Our society's major concern is mental development and to motivate each person to their highest potential. Because our philosophy is the smarter people are, the richer the world, because everybody becomes a contributor.
The smarter your kids are, the better my life will be, because they'll be contributing more constructively to the environment and to my life, because everything that we devise within a resource-based economy would be applied to society. There would be nothing to hold it back.
So, Roxanne, how would you propose that we change the education system? Obviously, it's not working, but the way we have it also wouldn't work in this new system that you're proposing.
No, first you have to understand the difference in the systems. The monetary system that we have today is concerned with wealth, property, and power, and essentially the bottom line is profit. In a resource-based economy, the bottom line would be the well-being of all the Earth's people. That's quite a difference. So today's education, they get just what they want. If they were too bright, you couldn't control them. You wouldn't be able to make them. You wouldn't be able to have them make weapons. Right. They would ask, "What are these weapons for? And what's the difference that the other country has that you're trying to bomb them?" They would ask a lot more questions. You couldn't use scientists to make weapons of mass destruction, and you couldn't use people to go to war. We're producing killing machines. Wouldn't it be much brighter to send all those kids who are killing machines back to school and teach them how to be creative and solve problems?
Wow.
Have a much better environment and world. So in the future, when you eliminate money, when you outgrow money, you wouldn't have any courses that don't produce something for the benefit of people and enhance their lives. In a resource-based economy, when you surpass money, then the parasitic professions that we have today, such as stockbrokers, bankers, advertisers, insurance people, real estate people, salespeople, and women and men, they wouldn't be needed. They don't contribute anything. They manipulate money. In the future, instead of politics, you teach the management of resources. And who decides the courses? It really depends on what the needs of the people are. And the courses would be primarily the intelligent management of the Earth's resources. This is the whole agenda for the future in a resource-based economy. We're not talking about anybody's wishes or aspirations or philosophies. We're talking about the intelligent management of the Earth's resources.
How would religion and nations fit into this, though? Because, I mean, right from the get-go, children are indoctrinated to believe that, oh, my country, right or wrong, my religion, right or wrong, and how do you then... It's going to take an awful lot of undoing. Is there any way to undo without the whole planet, melting down first?
Well, Einstein talked about patriotism as a disease, and it really is. But this whole system is melting down. The whole
yes, it is.
Economy is melting down, and it will take that before people look for something else, because they're not wise enough emotionally or intellectually to look at our system and say, what's wrong with it? What's the real cause? That's a luxury. People are so stressed to the hilt trying to take care of themselves and their family. Everything's put upon them. Individuality and responsibility, it's all put upon them. And the system is crashing. And when it does crash, and when they lose their jobs and they lose confidence in their elected leaders, then they'll begin to look for something else, because most of them just want to know what's in it for me.
Roxanne, I like how you called some of those people you referred to as parasites.
Yes.
There are a lot of them in the planet.
Yeah,
that's
when you think
sure.
about it, really, that's what they are.
Politicians mostly. Yeah. Listen, and also from what I get from Jacque's discussions, that the idea of government is basically undone. How could that be? How would then these resources be managed? I mean, not that government is any good at it, but what would be the structure that would take its place?
Sure. Government today is just there to keep things as they are. They're not there to change things, even though there's a slogan about that today. They couldn't change things. They try and work within the framework of the monetary system, which is not going to work. So the government in the future, things are so complex today. Computers can calculate 1 trillion bits of information per second today. I mean, excuse me, it was a thousand trillion bits of information per second. I think several months ago that was the latest. So people just can't manage the massive data on a global scale, which is needed. So eventually, for example, in the agricultural belt, you'd have electrical tentacles, so to speak, into the agricultural fields. And when the water table gets low, then water is pumped in. When the nutrients get low, the nutrients are pumped in. It's like an autonomic nervous system, but into the environment. Today, computers are connected to one another, but they're not connected on a massive scale into the environment. And they can more appropriately make the correct decisions.
Interesting.
Where politicians cannot.
Right. So, you have an image here of Americulture, which is agriculture in the sea, right?
Right.
How then? I mean, it's a big problem with these fish farms now. I mean, it destroys the ocean, the fish that live there already.
The fishing, you can't just keep taking the fish out of the oceans without replacing them.
Right.
That's the job in the future. That's one of the professions, the reclamation of the environment and the well-being of people. That's the main concern in the future in a resource-based economy. Not money or how to make a buck, but the well-being of people and the environment and the reclamation of the environment. So that would be one of the professions.
Roxanne, is there an advantage to living on the ocean?
Well, if we keep populating like we're doing, we're going to have to go skyward on the oceans and underground. But it could alleviate a lot of land pressures, the oceans. And a lot of the cities in the sea that we have pictorials for, I don't know if you're showing them.
Yes, we are.
They would be used to reclaim the oceans. I think it was in 1960, the Army dumped 60 tons of nerve gas into the oceans, into the Gulf Stream. So how stupid can you be? That's not patriotism.
No.
They're just there to follow instructions. They don't think about anything.
That's because they're not allowed to think. Like in your clip there, you say they're not trained to think beyond rote memorization almost. So how are they going to analyze?
Yeah.
Roxanne, I have a question for you. You and Jacque have been at this for what, over 30 years now?
Well, me about 33 and Jacque most of his life.
I mean, is the Venus Project any closer to true reality today, or is it still just on the drawing board?
We're getting thousands and thousands of email and people who we've really touched their lives for the first time. They've seen something that they believe in. And with the Zeitgeist film that just came out, and the thing about the Zeitgeist film, if it came out 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been as popular, but it came out when this system started to crash.
Right.
So that's when people look for something else.
Roxanne, we need to get to a commercial break. When we come back, I'd like you quickly to tell our millions of viewers tonight how they can become involved in the Venus Project. Our guest is Roxanne Meadows. Stay with us.
We're such an abominable, sick society that we won't make the history book. They just say that large nations took land from smaller nations, used force and violence. You'll get history talked about as corrupt behavior all the way along until the beginning of the civilized world. That's when all the nations work together. World unification, working toward common good for all human beings, and without anyone being subservient to anyone else, without social stratification, whether it be technical elitism or any other kind of elitism, eradicated from the face of the earth.
All right, we're back with Roxanne Meadows. Roxanne, tell our viewers how they can get involved in this incredible Venus project.
Well, first I would ask that you learn more about this direction, see if you identify with it. And on our website, www.thevenusproject.com, that's thevenusproject.com, we have books and videos, and we have a lot of information. We have a free ebook that you can download. And we also have a section on the homepage as to how to get involved. And people are helping in any way that they can. Any area of expertise that they have, they're helping out, whether it be animations or editing or building websites or really just learning about it and helping to spread the word is a tremendous help.
I'm thinking that a good place to start might be the education system itself, the kids. Of course, we might have some trouble with states and so forth, but have you considered that at all?
No, our next major project that we feel is most important is a major motion picture to the general public because people don't have a clue as to where to go. And we want to introduce the world of the future and then how we got from here to there. So it would be almost like a transitional therapy to help people through that transition and show them what they could have with science and technology applied to the social design.
Instead of something like Minority Report where it's a bad thing, where technology turns out to be a bad thing.
All those films were done by artists. There's nothing positive in the future.
Right.
They weren't done by technicians and scientists and sociologists. They were just scare tactics. More about what the culture is like today.
Right. The mindset, for certain.
So the website is thevenusproject.com. Roxanne Meadows, thank you very much. And we do have one last picture here. I want to put Jacque's picture up on the screen for our viewers to take a look at. There he's getting on, but he's still probably full of information and vigor.
He's lecturing all over the world still and working on projects.
Amazing. Roxanne, thanks a lot. I wanted to give Jacque a plug there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you being with us.
Good night.
I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. The website, there's so much information at thevenusproject.com.
Imagine this world. How awesome would it be?
It would be great. Thank you for joining us on the Matrix News Network.